Governments decide what they're going to do, and then they tell you have to do it. But in actual fact, we need to change that method of thinking and say, hey, this is an opportunity. What we need to do is we need to get ahead of the government.
So why don't you start off by telling me a wee bit about how Shear Edge got started?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kate. I appreciate it. Shear Edge started with Dr. Logan Williams, who's a bit of a serial inventor from Timaru. And so around where he's from, he was exposed to a lot of farming and often things like that. So he noticed that the strong wool and the wool industry was a key part of his background, but was saddened by the fact that we lost obviously such momentum in the 1960s. He was also aware that the fibres that strong wool has in the capacity that they can be used is being lost by the farmers having no ability to be able to sell it. So from there he thought, well, we've got to work to try and resurge this and grow something. And so with that he thought, well, we need to look at a market whereby it's big, it's global, and the demand is going to be there to really create a resurgence of strong wool. And with that came plastics. I think the irony with it is that it was one of the materials that came through that kind of reduced and targeted that strong wool market, but by combining them together gives the opportunity for them to both work seamlessly and also give that resurgence. So from there, Logan worked to put together the methodology and the technology that Keravos has, and we've labelled it as the Shear Edge, and we're going to work towards making sure we can focus on plastic reduction globally and supporting the strong wool market at the same time.
And I mean, plastics is complicated, and making plastics more sustainable is even more complicated. So tell me a wee bit about how the technology actually works.
Yeah, so what we're able to do is use kind of a lot of standard plastic technologies, but introducing this natural fibre. And I guess that's the best part about it, is that there's not too much more complexities than the normal. So we're able to take standard polymers that are used in everyday material or everyday products at the moment, and we are able to compound it with this natural wool fibre. In doing so, we get a huge amount of positive benefits. The properties for flexibility, flexural modules, flexural strength, things like that are all improved, and that's all comes from that amazing wool fibre. In addition, we can see a reduced density, which is just great in terms of the ability to have lighter products that we're shifting around and things. And then, going forward from there, there's better rigidity. So like I say, it's the fact that we can just use everyday off-the-shelf machinery that's available, and most companies around the world will have some access to it. By implementing the technology, we can really make a fast step towards having a compound polymer that's much more environmentally friendly and can be put straight into products that are already produced today.
What sort of products can be useful?
Yeah, so some of the products we've test trialed in the past is things like kayaks, catamarans, Victory knives and the knife handles and things. So we've trialed it on a number of different products, and the methodologies that we're focused on is around rotational molding, injection molding, extrusion. We can do extrusion and do filaments for 3D printing and things like that, and so we see some great benefits, and the majority of plastics globally use those methods for production, and so we feel like we've definitely reached a good balance between having good technology that is suitable for the current market space that we can now start to try and take global.
Where would you like to be this time in 10 years?
So in 10 years' time, we want to be able to look back and say that we have had an integral part in the reduction of plastic globally. Last year, it was about 400 million tonnes of plastic was produced and consumed, and that's growing 4% or thereabouts year on year. So with what we're doing, by reducing the amount of plastic that goes into each individual product or unit, year on year, we can actually reduce that growth rate. And being able to look back in 10 years' time, we want to see 6 to 8 companies globally putting to task this technology, producing this compound, and putting it into as many different products as we can, because that's how we're going to be able to achieve a reduction in global plastic usage. And that is, I think, a real steadfast way in the current climate to be able to support some environmental reduction.
And Shear Edge itself might go public, maybe?
So from there, we'd go goals for listing the company. My belief, and also Dr. Logan's, through what we've experienced, is that companies need to take on a life of their own. So we're going to build it up. It's going to become a company in its own right, and it's going to be supportive of all of its license holders. And from there, we can make it public. And we're looking at the ASX initially. However, as we know, things can change in the next 10 years. And then from that, we'll be able to see it actually flourish, and then it can get the support and the funding and everything that it needs to continue its growth in terms of that focus of building up plastic reduction and supporting that strong wool market.
And in terms of governments and government policy, do you see that as a hindrance, or that might be actually useful in the future?
Yeah, so, I mean, naturally the first thought is it's a hindrance. Governments decide what they're going to do, and then they tell you have to do it. But in actual fact, we need to change that method of thinking and say, hey, this is an opportunity. What we need to do is we need to get ahead of the governments. We need to tell the governments that this is what we're doing, and this is what they need to implement, and that will help them in their move towards better sustainability. And so through that, through organisations and through talking with those governments and things, we can need to be there, and we need to be at the forefront of all of that, so that way, like I say, it's not a hindrance, it's actually an opportunity to not only support the environment but also support our company.
And you have some former business experience yourself, and obviously brought into this company. What did you learn that you can apply to this now?
Yeah, so I guess my background, I was an accountant, really entertaining, and so I did a lot, and I worked through manufacturing and things like that, and my whole purpose through all of that was getting into business and learning business and loving manufacturing. I then moved into the plastic space, and I absolutely love being able to take something and turn it into something else. It's such an enjoyable thing. But also the plastic space for me was really exciting because it was a global industry that is going to have some big changes, and I wanted to be a part of that. So when we came across Shear Edge and Dr. Logan Williams, we thought this is amazing. This is exactly what we need, because from today to tomorrow, we can start using this. We don't have to go and spend money and do this, that, and the next thing. And I just thought the idea was amazing. So together with his analytical brain and his technology skills and my business background, we are looking to, piece together a good, strong global company that's going to be able to benefit people in multiple ways.
MBR is offering a special July-only deal, $399 for a year's subscription. So you'll be able to find me on mbr.co.nz.